Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Hi, it's Kat from The Razor's Edge, and I'm here with Cormac from The Answer at Stonedead 2023. How are you?
I'm very well, Kat. Good talking to you.
It's lovely to meet you and great to talk to you. So, first time here at Stonedead, how are you feeling about playing later?
Feeling good, yes. It's obviously kind of festival season's slowly but surely drawn to a close, and it's been a really good long one for us. We started kind of mid-May, I think, and actually we keep going through to October, but it feels like this is the beginning of the wind down in relation to the summer festival season. And I know we've got friends from Ireland over at this one who have been kind of bigging up the festival. I think they must have been here last year and had a really good time, and I like the whole one day one stage concept, because I've been to a few festivals where it kind of feels like the audience being forced to kind of split a little bit, because there's maybe one too many stages there or whatever. But it's great. It's good to be up on stage with all the Irish bands, the best of Ireland today. Good to hang out with the Therapy guys and look forward to seeing Ricky later. And it's going to be a good day.
Well, yeah, there's 3 bands on today which have got the Irish influence in them. So what is the scene like at home? Because we spoke to a lot of Irish bands at Bloodstock a few weeks ago. There was quite a few Irish bands playing, and they're saying they feel that, the last 2 or 3 years have been much healthier than it's been in a long time.
Yeah, kind of... I don't mean this in a patronising way at all, but I feel sorry for guitar-based bands in Belfast and in Ireland sometimes, because there isn't the same kind of if you're not one of the trendy bands, you don't get the same kind of mass support that sometimes you need to take that next step, from the industry. The flip side of that is, even the fact that we're talking about music industry in Ireland now is a very positive thing, and it's that side of things. It's actually really, really strong. And to get back to guitar bands, there's so many great bands just in Belfast alone, and I think one of the byproducts of maybe having to really work that a little bit harder to get noticed and to get out of Belfast, really. It helps to bring that community together, and you can feel that. And I've no doubt that a lot of those bands that I'm thinking about, you probably talked to at Bloodstock, because there's a good kind of grassroots foundation there, and there kind of always has been. But bands are making some really good music right now, and it's good to see.
Yeah, that is good to see, and it feels like there's a lot of different bands within the whole rock metal genre coming out of Ireland. There's a wide range, like you say, from guitar based right through to doom metal. There's a real flavour for it, which is great to hear.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. There's great kind of stylistic variation across the whole island for sure, and kids do still want to pick up guitars and rock out, and sometimes that mightn't be perceived as the coolest thing to do, but what makes it cool is that they do it anyway. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, and I think it's really good, like you're saying, we are talking about Ireland. Recently there was a documentary about the Troubles, and it was showing, the birthplace of some of the buzzcocks and bands like that over in Ireland. And I think people forget there's always been quite a big scene, and it's always been, I don't want to say political, but a lot of bands have sung and wrote about things that have affected them that we haven't always taken notice of, over in mainland England.
I mean, still to this day, Stiff Little Fingers sell 5,000 tickets in Belfast, and on that bill, you may get the Outcasts and a whole kind of plethora of kind of classic vintage Northern Irish punk bands. And punk was obviously a force to be reckoned with in itself, but Northern Irish punk was something to behold. It was just so unique, and because it was there was this extra charge to it, and but then you go before that, even you had amazing bands like Horselips and Rory Gallagher and Thin Lizzy, obviously, and it's Mama's Boys. So there's always been a very strong tradition, and we've always, as the Answer, kind of we've never forgotten that. We always do try and represent.
Lag down, really.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's like that. He's helping others behind you.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, like we always, right from whenever we started out, we saw it as part of our mission to kind of keep that very healthy tradition going and alive.
So you toured earlier on this year, and there was a new album out after a bit of a hiatus. How has that been for you, and has the process changed for you, for having some time away, how you would put an album together?
It was very different this time because we literally got together for our first jam in 4 or 5 years and had a great time doing it, and lots of good song ideas, a few of which appeared in the record. But then about a month later, COVID happened. So
it feels like a lifetime ago.
I know. But we kind of wrote Sundowners over those 2 years, and by necessity, our process had to change. So we did a lot more remote work. So we'd kind of be passing ideas back and forward and adding to them and developing them into like kind of maybe verse chorus structures. With the idea being that as soon as those travel restrictions were lifted, we'd get into the studio and start rattling out as many of these song ideas, seeing which ones would stick and which wouldn't, And it actually turned into a very healthy process. I think the songs benefited from maybe that extra little bit of TLC, that extra bit of perspective that comes from forcing yourself to listen to what works and what doesn't, rather than it just everything kind of feels good whenever you turn the guitars up and start rattling through songs, to the point that you sometimes maybe lose that bit of perspective as to what's really good. So we were able to kind of, what we feel anyway, hone in on the really good stuff, and obviously it worked out well for us.
Well, it's good to hear. And obviously you said you're going through to October. You've got some UK dates towards the end of the year again. I mean, what is it like now touring? Because there's been a lot of talk around, the cost of touring and things have changed, especially if you're going over to Europe or bands from Europe are coming into the UK. How has that affected you guys in the Answer?
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying, like the cost of living across the board has increased exponentially, and touring because of Brexit and all that kind of stuff as well has made it just that little bit more of a challenge, but it's definitely not impossible. You find a way to make it work because you have to. And yeah, we're coming back to do a run of UK shows in November, mid-November. I think we're doing London, Manchester, Wolverhampton and Glasgow on that particular run, and a big Christmas Belfast show, which will be great. And then we head over to. We did a pretty decent European tour when Sundowners just came out in March, and we're kind of following up with that and playing, maybe like Poland and different countries in different parts of Germany that we weren't able to hit up on the first run. So we're slowly but surely getting Europe covered and in the bag.
Back into it, yeah. How does it compare? I mean, going to places like Poland, and playing to people over there when you're so used to maybe a UK and Irish audience?
Yeah, we've always done less so much in Poland. We've only done a handful of gigs in Poland so far, but have always get so much love anytime we go there, which has been fantastic. But we've always kind of done probably as much touring in Europe than we have in the UK and Ireland, and in some places it feels like hometown gigs, like cities like Hamburg and Munich and Madrid and Paris. You're hitting up cities that we've been playing, as long as we've been going to London or going to Manchester to play. So we feel like we've laid down roots in those kind of cities, so it's always good to go back to those places, but equally, I suppose the idea of the spring European tour is to continue to try and keep pushing outwards, which is something I think any band does, but it's important to us both musically and I suppose, I don't know what you would call it, business. It's important to try and keep expanding and making sure that there's always people out there that haven't heard the music, and we try and get our music into those ears as much as we do into the ears of people who've been following the band for the last 7 albums. So,
well, I suppose that is an important factor for you though as artists, because the music industry is evolving at such a quick rate in the last 5 years. Everything's changing, how people access music. Not to talk about COVID too much because it's gone, but we were watching live streams of bands there rather than going to in-person gigs. So how important is it for the answer for you guys to keep evolving as a band to make sure that, like you say, you're reaching everybody?
Yeah, again, I think it's more important than ever to kind of stay true to where your heart is in relation to the kind of music that you create. And record that music in an honest way, and write songs. I suppose what I'm saying is you gotta write those songs for you first, for the band first, but beyond that, how it's marketed, it changes every day, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just gotta do your best, and I suppose kind of in those terms you gotta kind of hope that you've got the right people around you, to make those kind of decisions. And of course you kind of you've got input and you keep an eye on things, but I think you've also got to be open-minded as to how you get your music out to the people these days. But it starts with having good songs, and if your songs are no good, it doesn't matter how you market it. You're going to be wasting your time there. So
what can we expect from your set later on tonight? Are we going to have more of the new stuff, or are you going to play some old favourites for the fans?
I think it's just tilted in favour of the new stuff. It's almost 50-50 for these kind of hour-long sets, So I think it's a nice spread. We've got kind of 1 or 2 songs from each of the previous albums, mixed in with a whole bunch of fresh new material, and thankfully it all feels like it's from the same band, which sometimes when you create new material it doesn't feel like that, but there's a nice flow to the festival set, and we're about 25 festivals in at this stage, so I'd like to think we're in our stride. But that said, every festival obviously is a different experience, and we did one a few weeks ago in Wales, Steelhouse Festival.
Oh yeah.
It rained. Biblical. It rained. Yeah, biblical rain is a good way of describing it, but I got down into the crowd and
you adapt.
People started wiping mud in my face, and some boy threw me up onto his shoulders, and it all went off, but it turned into one of my favourite festival moments of the summer. So you don't really know what way it's going to fully pan it. That's part of the appeal.
And as long as you had a good time, obviously, and the crowd had a good time, that's all that matters, really, isn't it? Yeah. Regardless of how you deliver it, you just have to change things up. Yeah,
and we are genuinely just loving playing live at the minute. We've confidence in our new material, which is important. Confidence in it in the live domain, the studio, you've got more control over your sound and what you do with it, but the songs just feel like they come to life in front of people, and that's a good energy to be carrying you through over this festival period.
Well, I know you've still got a busy year, but always ask, once you've been home and had a little rest, when you've finished in November, what can we expect to see from the band in the next 12 months?
The plan would be to there's the rest of our band just going past in a little golf buggy. How'd they get that sorted? The plan would be Out the other side of Christmas, we've got some European dates, like I say, and just we're actually getting into the studio in a few weeks, back in the Middle Farm, to record another 2 or 3 potential single releases that will, tie us over from a release perspective right up to the festival season for next summer. So between the UK dates in November, December, the European dates in the spring, probably another 3 single releases that'll hopefully kind of carry us nicely into another busy summer of festivals. So around about this time next year, we can chat again and we'll see where we're at. See what
no rest for the wicked, eh?
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.